Good morning. Today is 18th March 2020 and we are going to start a new exercise. This exercise is on page number 51. So my sincere request to all the students, when you watch this video, please be with page number 51. Keep the question in front of you, then the lesson will be more understandable. With this, I am going to start new exercise on page number 51. This exercise is actually the miscellaneous of all the things that we have learned in the commercial math, right? So here we will have variety of questions, right? But then all the questions are very interesting and a real life question. As a common man, not as an educated person, as a common man also, if we can have the knowledge of this in things, then the decision will become more appropriate. When you become adult, and then if you have to make investments or if you have to take the loan, then there are so many agencies which will offer you the loan at a different rate of interest with different frequencies. But then you should be able to analyze and calculate and then select which one is the best for you, where you have to pay the minimum and so on. There are so many different type of questions. So with this, we are going to start with question number 1. Question number 1 is about a loan and about loan option, right? Someone is taking a loan of 20,000 and then there are 3 options given. Now you have to analyze and calculate and find out which option will you choose as a customer. Okay, so the question number 1 is, which is the best option to pay off a loan of new term 20,000? Which is the best option to pay off a loan of new term 20,000? And which is the worst? Which is the best and which is the worst? You have to find out. The options are, the first option is very simple, no calculation. You have taken a loan of 20,000 and for this loan of 20,000, you can, according to option 1, you just pay off 23,000 and get rid of the loan. So no calculation according to option 1. Your loan is of 20,000 and you just pay 23,000 and your loan is completed. So this is one option where you are paying how much? 23,000. So keep this in mind. This is the amount that you are going to pay for the loan of 20,000 according to option 1. Now we will move on to option number 2. Option 2. What the option 2 says? Option 2 says that pay off the loan at the end of 1 year at an interest rate of 14.6% per annum compounded semi-annually. You are going to pay the loan at a rate of 14.6% at the end of 1 year, and the condition is the rate is compounded semi-annually. The interest is calculated, compounded, and it is semi-annually. So from here what we understand is the loan is the same. The rate is going to be 14.6%, right? And then it is going to be compounded annually. That means the frequency will be, interest is going to be compounded semi-annually. That means the frequency will be 2. Interest is compounded semi-annually means the interest is calculated twice in a year. That is why the frequency is 2. Frequency means the number of times interest calculated in a year. So 2. And the time period is 1 year. Time period is 1 year. Now in compound interest, this R is not taken in percentage. We always take this in decimal. The formula which we are using, according to that formula, this R is supposed to be in decimal. So change this into decimal. So you have to divide it by 100. When you divide it by 100, it will be 0.146. So this is your rate. Now we will calculate for this given condition what would be the amount. Formula for the compound interest is P into 1 plus R over N whole to the power NT. This is the formula that we use for compound interest. Now let us put it. P is the loan, which is 20,000. 20,000 into 1 plus R. R is the rate, 0.146. 0.14146 divided by frequency, that is 2 whole to the power 1, and frequency is 2. When you calculate, this is 20,000 into 1.073. 1.073 whole to the power 2. Now when you use a calculator, and simplify it, its answer will come 23,026.58. This is the amount which is coming at the end of 1 year. You can pay off this much and your loan is completed. Next one is, the last one is option 3. Option 3. According to this option, the question says pay off the loan at the end of 1 year at an interest rate of 14% per annum compounded monthly. Per annum compounded monthly. When it is compounded monthly, then what could be the frequency? 12. Compounded monthly means interest will be calculated every month, and there are 12 months, therefore the frequency will be 12. Here the rate is 14%. Once again, this also will be changed in decimal, so 0.14. The frequency will be 12 because it is going to be compounded monthly, and the time period is 1 year. The loan is going to be paid off at the end of 1 year, right? So let us calculate the amount. Again, we will use the same formula. That's why no need of writing it again. We can directly calculate it. The P is 20,000. P is 20,000. Then 1 plus R. R is the rate, which is 0.14 divided by 12. Whole to the power 12 into 1. Is it okay? Now, this is quite complicated calculation if we do it manually. So, when you use the calculator and simplify it, its answer is coming as 22,986.84. Now we are done with all the 3 options. Now we have all the 3 amount in front of us. We can compare, and as a customer we can decide which one will we choose. According to the option 1, the amount was 23,000. According to option 2, the amount is calculated 23,026.58. And according to option 3, the amount is calculated 22,986.84 figure. And this figure is the smallest figure. So obviously as a customer we will go for this option. And this figure is the biggest figure. Therefore this will be the worst option. So we can write the final conclusion. Option 3 is the best. And option 2 is the worst. Hope it is clear. Thank you. This question number 2 is basically meant for parents. Parents. That means from now only we are preparing you to be a parent, right? How you will take the right decision. Or you can also think about your parents, that how your parents are planning for your higher education. Is it clear? So see, the question number 2 is a very practical and very interesting question. Question number 2. You as a parent, you intend to invest Newton 60,000 in a bank for 10 years. Means you want to invest Newton 60,000 in a bank for 10 years to have enough to pay for your child's education, right? Futuristic. You are futuristic. You think about future, your child's future. So you want to invest Newton 60,000 in a bank for 10 years to have enough to pay for your child's education. What interest rate compounded monthly? What interest rate? Listen every word very carefully. What interest rate compounded monthly do you have to earn if you want the investment to grow Newton 90,000 in 10 years? The question is clear? Means you want to invest Newton 60,000 for 10 years, right? And you want this money to grow to 90,000. You want your 60,000 to become 90,000. Is it okay? And the interest is going to be compounded monthly. So what could be the rate of interest? So this is the condition. So let us write. The investment that we are going to make will be said to be principal. And this is Newton 60,000. Right? You want to invest it for 10 years. 10 years. and interest is going to be compounded monthly. So since the interest is going to be compounded monthly, that means the number of frequency has to be 12, right? And this principal, you want this to become 90,000. That means your amount you are expecting it to be 90,000. So the question is, what could be the rate of interest then? What should be the rate of interest? Is it clear? So we are now going to calculate it. This is a compound interest question, so obviously we will have to use compound interest formula. I am writing the compound interest formula as P into 1 plus R over N whole to the power NT is equal to A. Now, you might be surprised to see the formula. Normally when we write the formula, this A used to be on the left hand side and then this left hand side used to be on the right hand side. But in this case I have written this is on left side and this is on the right side. The very reason why I wrote like this is because the question is to calculate R. And you know, like in any exercise, when you solve mathematics, when you try to calculate the unknown quantity, the quantity which you want to calculate, normally we keep it on the left side. We are habituated of it, and that is why I kept this quantity on the left side. We can use this formula and let us try to calculate the value of R. So P, from here I will continue. The next step, P is 60,000 into 1 plus R to be calculated, so let it be R only. Frequency is 12 and whole to the power. Frequency is 12 and the time period is 10 years. Right? This is equal to your amount, and amount you want it to be 90,000. Is it okay? Now we can simply again continue calculation. First of all, 60,000 we will move to right hand side. 1 plus R over 12 whole to the power 120. 12 into 10 is 120 is equal to 90,000 divided by, because this 60,000 is in the product form, therefore when it goes to the right side it will become division. So 60,000. 4 0 cancel this 4 0, 3 2s are 6 and 3 3s are 9. So this is coming 3 over 2 and finally this is coming as equal to 1.5. Okay, this calculation, the power is 120, right? So we are going to use the calculator. Okay, so first of all this power will move to the other side. You know that when the power goes to the other side, I have told you repeatedly that it will change into radical sign. Radical sign means root sign. So it will become 1 plus R over 12 is equal to 1/20th root of 1.5. Is it okay? In the next step now, this 1 will go to the right side. After that, 12 will go to the right side. So first of all, I am sending 1 to that side. This implies R over 12 is equal to 1/20th root of, make sure that this 120 should be very small inside this V shape. This is 1.5 and then this 1 will go to this side, will become -1. When you write very reader friendly. This minus should not come inside the radical sign because it is outside, it is separate. After this 12 will go to that side. So R is equal to 12 into 1/20th root of 1.5 minus 1. Now after this you have no option, you have to use calculator only. Is it very clear? Now when you use the calculator, its value is coming as 0.0406. You got the value of R as equal to 0.046. So this is the calculation which you have to really learn very carefully using the calculator, right? Many of the students are making mistake because they don't know how to use calculator properly and they get the wrong answer. So it's not the mistake with the calculator, it is mistake with us because we are not able to operate the calculator properly. So please learn it. Then after now this R has come in decimal. You already know that always when you use the compound interest formula, the R will come always in decimal. Finally we have to change this into percentage. So when you do this when you change this into percentage, you have to multiply this by 100. So 0.0406 into 100. Therefore, this will come as 4.06 percentage. Clear? When you round it off, it can also be written as 4.1 percentage. So either you can leave your answer in this, or maybe you can round it off and you can write the answer up to this step. So if your 60,000 is invested at this rate of interest for this many year with this frequency, then it will amount to 90,000. Is it very clear? You need to read the question repeatedly, time and again, understand it well, and then you can follow the step. Thank you. Alright, now we will move on to question number 3. This is little tricky and imaginative question, right? So you have to use your reasoning ability, thinking ability. Let us see how you think about this question. I will try to explain, but you also have to feel the question, and then you can try to understand. If you have any doubt, you can again ask me. I will try to clarify. The question is not that difficult. It's very interesting. So I'm starting question number 3. An investment is placed in an account. Means some investment is placed in an account. How much is invested is not given. Any amount. It can be applicable to any amount. So we can say a certain amount is placed in an account that guarantees an increase of 25% in 3 years. This is the situation. Means you invest some amount. Think of any amount. You invest some amount for 3 years. And what you realize, what you notice is, after 3 years, that you have got an increase of 25%. Right? So, if this is so, then part A, question 3A says, then what interest rate compounded annually must the account earn? That means what could be the interest rate? If your certain amount grows by 25% in 3 years, then what was the rate of interest if it was compounded annually? If it was compounded annually. So since the amount is not given, the investment is not given, we can do with our own assumption. So let us say that we have invested neutrum. Let P, the investment, be neutrum 20 neutrum 100. Neutrum 100. Suppose we will solve this question with a simple investment. Very simple investment. So we decided that we will calculate it on 100 rupees investment. So according to the question, whatever you invest in a 3 year, it increases by 25%. In 3 year. In 3 year. That is, time period is 3 years. In 3 year, this investment, according to the question, increases by 25%. 25% increase means what? 25% of this 100 will be 25. So this 25 will be added to this one. That means 125. So this principal will become amount equal to neutrum 125. I'm not saying this. The question says that when you invest a certain sum, then in 3 years it increases by 25%. That is what I am trying to show you with an example. That if you have invested neutrum 100, then in the 3 year time period, this investment will increase by 25%, and 25% of this 100 is 25. Therefore, your principal will become amount equal to 125. Is it okay? And the interest is calculated here is annually. Annually. That means the frequency will be 1. Frequency will be 1. Is it okay? So now the question says what interest rate compounded annually? What interest rate compounded annually? So what was the rate of interest? At what rate of interest this 100 has become 125 year in 3 years when it was compounded annually? So we have to find out the rate of interest using the compound interest formula. So I am going to use the compound interest formula. The compound interest formula is P into 1 plus R over N whole to the power NT is equal to A. Once again I will repeat the same thing I did in the previous question. This quantity I wrote on the left hand side, and this we wrote on the right hand side, and here also I am doing the same thing. Because I have to calculate the rate, and the quantity which I have to calculate, I will prefer to write it on the left side. That is why this has come on the left side. Hope repeatedly I am telling you, so it will make you more clear. Now we can put in the formula. So this implies P is 100 into 1 plus R. R has to be calculated. Frequency is 1. So 1 whole to the power N. N is the frequency, which is 1, and the time period is 3 is equal to A. A we have calculated 125. Is it okay? Now we can simplify. 1 plus R whole to the power 3 is equal to 125 divided by 100. So this becomes 5 over 4. That means this will become 1.25. Hope this is clear. Okay. Now, after this, we will shift this power to that side. So this power will change into cube root. 1 plus R. Whenever the power goes to the other side, it always changes into radical sign in the root sign. So it will become cube root of 1.25. Alright. Now this 1 will go to the other side. So this implies your R will become equal to cube root of 1.25 minus 1. Now when you use the calculator and simplify, you will get the answer of this part as equal to 0.0772. You got the value of R in decimal. Now finally this R has to be expressed in percentage. So your R is equal to, multiplied by 100, it will become 7.72%. Is this very clear? This is your part A. This is your part A. Now we have part B also in this question. What the part B says? Will the investment increase from its original value by 50% in 6 years, assuming the same rate of interest? Explain. Means what we were told is that in 3 years at a certain rate of interest it increases by 25%. We were told that at a certain rate of interest the increase is 25%. The investment increases by 25%. Now the question says, if it increases by the same rate of interest, then in 6 years, will it increase by 50%? This is what the question is. Because it has increased by 25% in 3 years. So what do you think in 6 years, because the time is double, so will it increase by 50%? Because it has increased by 25% in 3 years. So in double year, in 6 years, will it increase by 50%? This is the question. So we'll check it. Now the rate of interest is calculated. So with this rate of interest, we will calculate amount. Right? We will calculate the amount. Amount is equal to, we will not write the formula. Formula is already there. So P is 100 into 1 plus R. Now R is already given. So we'll use this formula, this value of R. Because R we always taking decimal. So 0.0772. And then frequency is 1. Frequency is 1. Whole to the power 1 into 6. Hope this is clear. Okay. Now we can use the calculator. Because this will be 100 into, this is straight 1.0772 to the power 6. We will use the calculator, and when you simplify, the value of this one is coming as 156.23. This is your final answer. Now you can check and then give the answer. What the question says, if the investment has increased by 25% in 3 years, then will it increase by 50% in 6 years? Right? 50%. Now 50% of this will be 50. That means the question is expecting this to increase by 50%. Means it should become 150. But when you have calculated, are you getting it less than 150 or more than 150? This figure has come more than 150. So we can conclude that in 6 years, it will increase by more than 50%. Is it okay? So what we can write is the increase over 6 years, increase, therefore the increase over 6 years is more than 50%, because if it was 50%, then this could have been just 150, but because it is more than 150 amount, therefore we can say that it will increase more than 50%. Hope it is clear. Thank you.